G'day everyone, welcome to the JBH show, also known as the Just Another Bloke with a podcast, and I'm super excited because today I've got Nasir, the Streets Barber, with me today. Welcome.
What's up? How you doing?
Really well. Really glad that you're here, bro.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. I'm actually kind of glad to be here too.
Yeah?
Yeah, hell yeah. Doing something with you is nice.
I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it. So not everyone that follows me is going to know who you are, so let's go to the start. Where are you from? Where did you come from? Pretty much.
I mean, like besides my mama?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't go to too much detail there.
I am, so I'm Persian ethnically, Japan raised and born, Canadian citizen, living in Australia now. So it's kind of like a mutt.
Yeah.
You know, just a real big hybrid of a whole bunch of different places.
Yeah.
You know, I was fortunate enough, actually, I think, to have that experience as a kid, you know, because it just kind of, it puts a little bit of seasoning, you know what I mean, on who I am as a person, I guess. You know, my parents both left Iran before the revolution, which is kind of cool. And they met in the Philippines.
Yeah, right.
You know, in like the 70s, and then moved to Japan for like 25 years. So me and my brothers were all born there. And then after about 6 years of me being in Japan, I moved to Canada, settled there. And then at like 22, 23, I made the move and came out to Australia on a one-way ticket, man, on a working holiday visa. Not sure what my next move was going to be. So, before you know it, 13 years later, I'm applying for citizenship. It's crazy.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so that's just kind of like the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you doing now?
I'm cutting hair. I'm a barber. And that was one of the reasons why I moved to Australia.
Yeah.
You know, I decided I wanted to cut hair. I wanted to be a barber. And I wasn't able to actually get a job anywhere, funny enough, because I had no experience. And I came on a one-way ticket on a working holiday visa. So like, you know, with barbering, at least if you're going to be settled in a place, generally speaking, even if you're not on a visa, especially if you're not on a visa, I think it's easier for you to get a spot. But for me, you know, any employer would have just been like, oh, he's here for 6 to 12 months. He's going to go do the farm work and he's going to go home, right? Yeah. So like, it was just very difficult. But I just grinded, bro. Like, you know, I guess we'll get into this obviously, you know, throughout the podcast, but coming from addiction, when I moved to Australia, I sobered up. And so cutting hair became like a new drug for me, you know, and kind of like me when I was on drugs, there was no stopping me from getting high.
You're right.
You know, I'd source whatever I needed to source.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I guess for me, when I put my mind to it and I kind of associated cutting hair like a drug, I was going to source whatever I had to source, you know, and I ended up finding a spot eventually after a few years of just grinding it out. Yeah. So, yeah, I was pretty fortunate. Electric Brain Barbershop. It was out in Brunswick Street. It's no longer there anymore, but yeah, shout out Summer, you know. Yep. Great woman in my life who gave me my first shot. So.
And was that straight away when you came to Australia, or
hell no?
Were you wanting to cut hair when you came to Australia?
Oh, no. I wanted to cut hair before I came to Australia. Right. So, like, that's basically what happened. I might as well go back, actually. I'll tell you real quick. So, like, I came from a family of super, you know, amazing intellectuals, academics, killing it in whatever career and profession they had. So, you know, we had UN officials, multiple UN officials in my family, diplomats, doctors, Harvard graduates, MIT graduates. Yeah. And just like, you know, really super high achieving individuals that were doing really, really good, amazing things around the world. And like, they weren't just like, you know, in the headquarters in New York City, but like they were living in like rural parts in like continent of Africa or like in the Caribbean or, you know, parts of Asia, Europe, wherever it may be. And just doing awesome stuff like on ground zero, you know what I mean? Like just there in this spot instead of just behind a computer. Like my cousin, man, like when the earthquake happened in Haiti many years ago, he was like emailing us, you know, as a family, just letting us know play by play. He's like, I've just been under this building, just digging out bodies, you know, and doing stuff like that. And he's a diplomat, right? Like, it's pretty cool. So, well, that story's not cool, but I'm saying it was just unreal to.
But he's there at the coalface.
Yeah. So that's him, right? So, growing up, I always had that like desire to be a high achiever, just like my family. Yeah. My two brothers, you know, both really, really switched on, you know, smart, intellectual, awesome at sports, awesome at, you know, whatever subject they took in school, excelling to the max.
And are they older brothers or?
Older, I'm the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I just try to be like them as well. And so I did whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
So I just was constantly trying to be like other people. You get me? But I guess inherently, like within myself, I'm more of an artist.
Yeah.
As you can see now, you know what I mean? Like just the way I look, the way I act, the way I've allowed myself and found myself to be. It's kind of just, you know, gravitated towards not being like everyone else that I've always wanted to be. Not saying that I don't like that and stuff, but it just wasn't who I felt the most comfortable
100%.
within my skin, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing that I used to always do for fun as a kid was cut hair.
Yeah.
It all started because I just used my dad's razor one day and like shaved a little bit of my face before I even had facial hair.
Yeah.
But I just, the whole like process was like amazing, you know, like it just felt, let the ritual of just like putting the water on your face with shaving cream and grabbing a razor and just, you know, I'm not even sure if I don't think I was cutting any hair, but it was just even taking the razor off, like, and getting the shaving cream off my face, you know, it was cool because I don't know, man, as a kid, you're like, that's dope, you know?
It just felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I got the bug from that point. So anytime anybody wanted, you know, something fixed at school, I'll be like, yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
So we just used kitchen scissors or beard trimmers or whatever we had. And that was just the guy. Like I just had the eye and I was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Wasn't good, obviously, but like, I was like, I want to do it. Yeah. So the thing is, my friends would always tell me you should cut hair, you know, and like even my family, because I would bring people to my house and I would just do it. And my family's like, cut hair, you know, and I used to think it was like an insult, like that's all I could do. You know, I couldn't be like them. I couldn't be academic. I couldn't be a doctor. I couldn't be a Harvard graduate, et cetera, et cetera. So like eventually the encouragement went away. And with the encouragement,
because you were ignoring it.
Yeah, I was more so like almost offended to the point where I'd like fight back. So like I would like cause such a scene. Ignoring it is just being kind of cool, calm, and collected. Being like, I was doing the opposite. Like, what the hell, man? You guys, you know, fuck, you know. And I was like pissed off. Like, you're insulting me. You don't, you know, you guys don't think I'm worthy, which put me into a rut. I was deeper and deeper, like, of insecurity, right, and like low self-esteem.
Yeah,
because when you're trying to be like someone you're never going to be, you know, it's hard for you to actually find a form of confidence and
100%
assurance in what you're doing in life.
And in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, when someone would tell me to do something that they thought I was going to be good at, that wasn't aligned with what I thought I wanted to do or what I should be doing. And it just, I resisted a lot. And, it just kind of snowballed into getting worse and worse and just trying to always impress other people and just, being in a dark place as a kid. And then obviously, you know, once kids obviously experiment, but when I experimented, I think for me, it was like, whoa, like I don't have to feel this sense of insecurity or something, whatever it was. Like I just felt free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which was dangerous because I'd sober up and then I'd feel guilt and like shame, like I was doing something wrong. So on top of feeling insecure and having low self-esteem, I felt shame and guilt that I shouldn't be doing what I was doing. And then
you'd want to get away from that.
So I would use more, right? Yeah. But I would do more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like a stressful and pretty toxic relationship that I had with myself and substances for many years from when I started using, you know, and I used pretty late. Yeah. I was like 16.
Yeah.
As in like comparative to like other people who are like smoking weed at like 10 years old, 12 years old these days. Like, whoa, bro. 16, 17 years old. My family, you know, so another reason why, you know, I would have started late and it was never really something that I entertained is because within my family, it was never really brought into our home.
Yeah.
Alcohol was never a thing.
Yeah.
Cigarettes weren't even a thing. My whole family, the reason why they were doing what they were doing in their professions, but then going to ground zero and offering service and giving back to the local communities and being involved as much as they could was also because of my faith, which goes hand in hand with the lack of substance in my house.
Right.
So my family and myself we're part of the Baha'i faith.
Yeah.
The Baha'i faith is a religion that believes in all religions.
Yeah.
They believe in one God, but it believes that all faiths and all religions have come, and it's a progressive revelation. So the revelation from God just keeps being passed down from messenger to messenger. So it's not like it's that's the only way and there's no other religion past that. Because if you think about it, every religion confirms its former faith.
Yeah.
Sorry, its past faith, but never allows itself to acknowledge one that comes later. Yeah. You get me?
Yeah.
But it's funny because like I think Christ talks about Moses, you know, and then Prophet Muhammad talks about Jesus and Moses, right?
Yeah.
So it seems that, and this is where the Baha'i faith comes in. It's like every prophet has talked about the one before that.
Yeah.
And the Baha'i faith sitting at the bottom of that list, you know, it acknowledges everyone. But the unique thing is that it doesn't say that Baha'i faith is the only faith that's ever going to be now. It says that in the future there will be another faith as well that will reintroduce the teachings and the revelation of God into that time.
And is there a prophet?
Yeah, there is a prophet.
Baha'i?
Yeah, so like just like Jesus, Muhammad, and Moses, Buddha, and Krishna, the Baha'i faith believe in Baha'u'llah.
Okay.
It's an Arabic word for the glory of God.
Yeah.
So the meaning. But yeah, it's cool because the progressive revelation concept comes based on a certain time in which the revelation of God has been revealed.
Yeah.
So it's not saying that anyone is wrong for believing in their beliefs. It's just saying that as time goes on and as society changes, the spiritual values are going to be always the same.
Yeah.
So the 10 Commandments basically can be mirrored in many of the teachings of the Quran, the Baha'i faith, and Christianity. They all stem from Judaism, right? But what I'm saying is the philosophical and the spiritual aspects of it are one and the same.
Okay.
The only difference is the social teaching. So certain times where they may fast, or what is what are their obligations in regards to charity work, or how many times they need to pray, or how they pray, stuff like that. That's all based on the era and the time in which it was revealed.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, and it's crazy, man, I've noticed this more and more as I get older. We always point out our differences. But for me, it's all about, like, I think celebrating our similarities. And so as a Baha'i, I look at myself and I'm like, man, I'm just like everyone else that believes in a higher power.
Yeah.
And, like, even people that don't believe in faith, it's like, all right, cool, dope. I find so much connection with you still because there's a level of, like, belief in something. Sometimes people who don't even believe in something, I'm like, okay, cool. You don't believe in something, but at least you believe in that there is nothing, right? Yeah. But let's forget what the word or what the concept is after belief. The fact that you believe in something and I believe in something. I may believe in something different. You may believe in something different, but we both have the capacity to believe. You feel me? So 100%. I'm trying my best to, like, forget all that nonsense, which has caused, issues.
All the division.
And like in the Baha'i faith, it talks about the purpose of religion is to stop wars, to create peace, to create love, and create unity. Yeah. And if this isn't actually happening, it's better to have no religion at all. My religion says that.
Yeah, right.
It says it's better to have no religion if it's going to be like that.
Yeah, right.
Because the purpose of all religion is to actually be loving and unified. And it's crazy because, like, if you look at it at its core, people talk about Islam like, man, it's a religion that jihad, man. Like, how can you expect people to love if it's about war? But jihad just, it's interpreted in, like, a very, very skewed way in the West. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's about killing people and doing stuff, but it's about, like, a spiritual battle, within yourself. And you don't necessarily have to fight a war in a physical way. You can also combat it in, like, a spiritual way, in an intellectual way, in a way that actually changes how you perceive things, right? Mentally. Yeah. And you can have that battle within yourself. You can just work on yourself. You can combat against the negative forces within yourself with how you are as a person. Doesn't necessarily mean you literally have to take up arms and kill people. Yeah. And so, and Islam, man, like, it's a religion of peace. I think Islam means peace, doesn't it? Like, I could be wrong if anyone's watching, but this is what I'm trying to say. So I'm always about, like, trying to find similarities. I'm like, and I just believe in exactly what they believe in. So
2 questions. Firstly, is it technically an Abrahamic religion then because it's from that?
Interesting. It's a very, very good point that you say that. So and this is where it comes into place. So this is why I think in Islam, it's believed that Prophet Muhammad is a seal of the prophets. Yeah. Right? And after that, it's the end of that cycle. Yeah. This is what Baha'is have interpreted. and he is the seal of the prophets within the Abrahamic cycle.
Okay.
So the Baha'i faith has introduced as part of its now in a new cycle.
Okay.
Of the revelations of God, right?
Yeah.
So the Baha'i faith is not denying what it says in the Quran. It's acknowledging and it's accepting that, but it has different interpretation to think that it's not the seal of all prophets that's forever to come.
Yeah. Just the Abrahamic one.
Yes. And so, I talk to my Muslim brothers and sisters about this, and they don't agree, and I just embrace them with a hug, and I'm like, amazing. Okay, cool. Like, you may not agree, but you still have love for me. And they're like, absolutely. And I say, I love you too, right? And so it's so cool to, instead of being offended and pissed off at me, like trying to fight them, that's not going to be the cause of what religion's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's been a lot of times in my life where I found I combated this idea of hatred or like wanting to prove myself or a feeling of war within myself with someone else, because I'm like, nah, I follow a faith.
Yeah.
And my faith teaches me the opposite. So it's really helped me on that path. But it was funny that we went down this like interesting path. But one of the prerequisites of being a Baha'i is you cannot take a substance that alters your state of mind.
Right.
So anything that takes you further away from who you are as yourself spiritually. Coffee doesn't count. Alcohol,
thank goodness,
is what I'm talking about. No. What you get is a stimulant, sure, but it doesn't like alter your state to the point where you lose inhibition and how you can be.
Gain inhibition, you actually can function as a human being. Yes, I'm very reliant on coffee.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's why I never grew up with that stuff in my household.
Gotcha.
So that's another reason. So when I got introduced to it, that's why I had the shame and the guilt.
Yeah,
it's like, I should have been doing this.
So your family was a very traditional household, or
no, not at all. That's the cool thing
but strong in their faith, at least.
Yes, but this is the unique thing about a Baha'i, it's that you can't be told you're a Baha'i. You have to within yourself figure it out.
Yeah, right.
And you can be encouraged, you can be shown, but at the end of the day, it's within you. It's your relationship with you and you, God alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're strong in it and their beliefs, but they don't we don't go and we act this way and go door to door knocking. No, bro. It's just, they just live the life.
Yeah.
That's all it is, So have I ever really spoken to you much about my Baha'i faith and over the years?
You mentioned it maybe twice.
Yeah, and I've known you for how many years?
It's been 10 years. That
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's it's more so, but can you see I'd like to think that with my actions and how I carry myself, it's a little bit different to necessarily me having to tell you that I'm a certain way.
You're not preaching, you're leading by example.
Do you think so?
Yes, definitely.
So I think that's kind of how my parents were.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that with my family. So it's never like, this is who I am. This is how we got to follow. This is the only way. If you don't do it, you're doomed to hell. None of that, bro. None of that. So traditional? No, actually, my parents are pretty progressive.
Right.
Culturally, growing up in a Persian household, that's when you find people who are traditional. But because my parents left at such a young age, and they've been so well traveled, and they've experienced so many different cultures and traditions around the world.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 6, my parents had lived in 3 different countries, learned 4 different languages.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I mean? It's just at that point, where's the tradition?
Did they flee the revolution or was it
prior?
Prior.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was before things got ugly.
Yeah. So some of my family did end up moving after the revolution, and they're dispersed all around the world. So I've got cousins in Africa, West Indies, Asia, Europe, America, Canada, South America, everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I can go to any continent except for maybe Antarctica.
Yeah.
And be like, I've got family there.
No.
But it's encouraged that as Baha'i, you're supposed to go to different parts around the world and embrace other people and their customs and traditional language and embrace it as if it's your own.
So how many Baha'i are there in the world?
6-7 million.
Yeah.
It's the most widespread religion in the world, actually. There was a survey done.
Encouraged to go.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of Persians that left after the revolution. And because, so going back to how in the revolution, I was mentioning about Islam, certain beliefs around Prophet Muhammad being the seal of the prophets.
Yeah.
Anything that came after is just absolute, taboo, blasphemous. And because the Baha'i faith
came
after, a lot of Baha'is were persecuted against.
Yeah.
And to this day, bro,
that's what I was going to ask.
It's crazy. Baha'is can't even go to university. They can't even function as normal human. They don't have human rights.
Yeah.
Basic human rights. They're thrown into jail just for being Baha'i. My friend's aunt was in solitary confinement for 1.5 years in the dark just because she wouldn't recant her faith.
Yeah.
She was in jail for years. And it's like that. It's pretty intense, bro. The regime is pretty strict towards Baha'is,
So how do you reconcile that with, obviously you don't have any ill will towards, members of the Islamic faith, But how do you reconcile people that would take those actions against your
faith. It's a good point. I just don't think. I look at what Islam is about, right?
Yeah.
And I look at the fact that it's a religion of peace. It's a loving, beautiful faith that really encourages many of the same beliefs, spiritual beliefs, especially as myself and many Christians and Jews. So I don't look at the regime as the religion.
As representative of the
no
religion.
Way. No, absolutely not. So I separate it big time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
because it was before the revolution. It was the Shah.
Exactly.
Were they favorable towards Baha'ism or just not necessarily?
He was just progressive and Western. But like I think because there were a lot of like, he wasn't as bad. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
but I think he was very progressive. But like obviously there were people within Iran and within the faith of Islamic faith. I'm saying that didn't necessarily agree with any faith that came after. So my dad would tell me stories of, like mobs coming towards his house and like trying to like harm him and his, siblings. And my mom would tell me like, I remember hearing a story as a kid, like in school, like the kids would just look at my mom or like my mom's brother and be like, you dirty Baha'i. Like, they were just like thought this way. And like my uncle was like beaten at his kid with chains, like in front of like my mom, like she had to like hide in a bush. Yeah, like horribly. Like my cousin, not my cousin, my uncle, my great uncle, he actually got killed for being a Baha'i during the revolution. But my dad would always tell me the story. He goes, he was being shot by firing squad. And he goes, make sure you pull that trigger as hard as you can because I want to die for my faith. So stuff like that is quite like, saying that just gave me goosebumps. You know what I mean? Like, it's just cool that like there's no, it's not like fanatic, which I love. And it's just a way of life. It's a concept of life. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. And it's more so necessary to show through your actions as opposed to words. You know what I mean? So this kind of answers your question about tradition. Like, I never grew up. But my dad would sometimes be like, "Yo, I want to pray," and he'd be like, "Do you mind if I just say a prayer as you're going to sleep, and I'll just be in your room?" And it taught me the power of prayer. Yeah. So I'll just be like, "Yeah, sure, Dad." And I'll just like lay down, and he'll just say a prayer in the background, and it'd be kind of chilled. It wasn't like forced. It wasn't, I was not guilt tripped or anything like that. And it's pretty cool. And I find like the best moments in my life is when I connect with this higher power. I call it God, but again, people don't want to call it God. Like, I believe in something, I just don't think it's God. And it's like, all right, cool, bro. Let's not fight on the word. It's cool. Yeah. let's celebrate the similarities on the concept.
Focus less on the religion and the name more than the feeling.
So for me, it's I feel the best when I'm connected. But during my drug addiction, I'd feel so guilty, I won't even want to pray, which led me into a cycle where the less I prayed, the further I went away from faith and that connection to God, which in turn turned me further away from faith, which, you know what I mean? It was like
it was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And it's like, at what point do you ever feel like you're good enough? Because I felt like I wasn't worthy enough to connect with a higher power, and I wasn't doing the right thing. So it was like, man, I've got to just put my head down, and I've got to nowadays it's like I've got to put my head down and realize I'm never going to be perfect, right? And I can never think, I'm not good enough. I've not been the best person morally, spiritually, whatever, that I don't feel like I can pray or I'm feeling guilt. It's like you're never going to have to necessarily worry about that. Like when you want to connect to a higher power, when you want to. This is just my thoughts, though. Like, I'm not here preaching, but I just feel like it's very important that we don't lose faith in the fact that we're never going to reach a station where we're going to be able to connect with something that, if you do believe in a higher power, believe it's perfect or whatever it is, to be able to connect on that level. It's just a constant growth. And I went to Indonesia like a few weeks ago or a month ago, and I was with a group of like pretty devout, like, Christians that were all so into their faith. And I was the only non-Christian, right? And it was cool just kicking it with these guys, and just hearing and just being embraced and loved by them all. And we all had the similar mindset of service. Like, let's just focus on serving the community and doing what we can. And we were talking about this concept of like, we don't necessarily need to connect with this higher power when we feel like we're good enough, because we may never get to that point. But then when we feel like we're not good enough, we may lose that connection and that opportunity. And this guy, Rob, man, shout out Rob. I love that guy. My girlfriend loves him too. he was trying to make an analogy, and he's like, you don't get clean and then get into the shower or something like that. You get me? So it's kind of like the concept of you don't necessarily have to get perfect and then connect to God.
Then,
you know, you go into the shower to get clean. So like connect so you can actually work on your. But he kind of came up. He's like, you don't go into the shower to get clean. And I kind of just like looked at him like, yeah, I do, bro. What are you talking about? And then so that was just an ongoing thing. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I've never actually talked about faith like this with anyone on a podcast. I don't even know what made me want to talk about it.
No, I love it, man. I love it. It's always something that, you know, I've been interested in and exploring the different points of view and how they all connect and that sort of stuff. So you know, you could talk for hours about this and I'd still be listening. So cool. It's really cool. That's stuff that I'm into.
Cool. Well, like, I mean, Easter's coming up, right?
Yeah.
And like in the shop, we've got people all from different faiths. Some are actually atheists or agnostic. I'm not exactly sure which one is agnostic and which one is atheist, but I know that we have that.
So atheist is no
faith, no.
Agnostic is you know, there could be something.
I believe in something, just not God.
I'd like it to be called God.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or like I'm a spiritual being and I believe in like reincarnation and stuff like that. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Then we've got some Christians, we've got some Orthodox, we got Catholics, we've got Muslims, and so I just give the boys opportunity to take whatever holiday they want off. So we're like, why are you working Easter? It's like, well, because not everyone's Christian, right? And like, I know it's like a Western policy and like we're living in Australia, but it's no way, shape or form blasphemous. Like there's two of the boys who decided to take it off and they're honoring their faith. Yeah. You know, but I don't want to force a Muslim to have to respect a Christian holiday, but then I can't respect his Muslim holiday.
Correct.
So it's kind of cool, like how in the shop we're very unified in that approach and everyone's just so respectful of one another, and it's kind of cool. And it's what I envision, bro. Like that's how I see faith, you know, living in harmonious beliefs. And I always say this: if someone can be a better Christian than, let's just say, a half-ass or mediocre Baha'i, be that Christian, bro. Yeah, like do whatever you can to help society.
What is mediocre Baha'i?
Well, as in like someone who's just like, you know, Baha'i by name, and it's like, I'm Baha'i, but then he doesn't care about society, he doesn't care about connecting with God. But then there's a Christian who's like, you know what, I love God, I love society, I want to help out, and like, you know, but if they were to lose that connection with Christianity and Christ, then that potentially could mean they don't do as much as they're doing for the world or connecting with that higher power. No, man, just do what you're doing. The end goal is to get closer to this higher power. Yeah. That's why I got my virtues on my wall. Have you seen the...
Yes, I have. Yeah.
People are like, why do you have those virtues on the mirror? And I'm like, well, these are all characteristics and attributes of a higher power.
I read them every time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Working away. Fair enough. Yeah. It's just like, to me, I don't know what this higher power or God is, right? But I feel like this higher power is perfect or has all these attributes that are on the wall. And it's like 50 or so different virtues.
Yeah. And you still put them on the coffee cups as well?
We don't do coffee anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we sold the machine because we're trying to make it a bigger space. We're doing a reno. Okay. But yeah, we used to do it. It used to be a thing. So every time you drank a coffee, you would get a different virtue just so you can kind of... And now that's why the products the products by the streets, they all have a different virtue on it. So it's a daily reminder. It's affirmation, right? So, but I have that on my wall. So, and I also have conversations with people about it all the time. It's because I don't know what God is. I just know that God is everything good. Yeah. And everything that's good has these characteristics, right? Yeah. And I can never be that perfect person or that good, but I can try my best to acquire as many of these attributes every day in whatever I do.
That's what
and that way,
aspire to. Yeah,
absolutely. And that way I'm bringing myself to this higher power. This, I don't know, like this better version of who I am. Yeah. So,
and I want to talk about the shop because it's such an awesome space. Like when I go in there, there's always someone that just, you know, walks in and everyone's super welcoming and super friendly and that sort of stuff. It sort of doesn't feel like it's just a barbershop. It's a safe space to come and hang, and that's something that I really commend you for because that's really cool. So like I hear stories when I'm there of all these, you know, cool people that you're helping out in whatever's going on in their life, and you're sort of like almost a big brother to them.
To be honest, man, I thank you. I appreciate it. But I say this all the time, like it may be the streets barbershop, so they may like put my face on that, but everyone there is my limb.
Totally.
So I would be a limbless face.
Yeah.
without everyone there. So you're saying it's like, you commend me for that, but you commend everyone there.
Oh, and the team.
Because
the
they
boys are so good. Yeah.
They encourage me. And like when I'm slacking or I'm not doing right, it's like, come on, bro. Like you got to step up. So like we work at it in like literally such an equal way. Everyone has that same vision and reminder that we come in and it's we, not me. So it's not myself. It's not me. This is not my brand. This is our shop.
Yeah.
We work as a squad. We work as a team. This is what we're trying to do. This shop is way more than just cutting hair. This shop is way more than just a business. This shop is way more than just us as individuals as well, right? So, yeah, I try to encourage we, not me every day.
Yeah.
I got that shit tattooed on my head, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And like, I've got a Streets Barber program that now, if a new person joins, like we just run through it. Like, this is what it's about. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to achieve. Just letting you know, so you want to be aligned. If it doesn't feel right, then obviously it doesn't feel right. And then there's plenty of other shops. We haven't found someone who's just like, nah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
but that's what I mean. The vibe's good. It's a really good space. And yeah, it's not just you, it's everyone else there that provides that. And when you're not there and I go into booking, everyone's still super welcoming. It's the same energy. Like it's just great to be there.
I love that it's like a funny thing for everyone to hear, but you're so old school. Everyone calls up, makes a booking online. You always rock up.
Yeah.
Just to greet us and make a booking in person, just to come back like a week or two later.
100%.
It's so funny. Yeah. I love it. It's just beautiful, So
I think last time we said that I'm a 65-year-old man in a 25-year-old body. So
yeah, bro. Well, you've been that actually. You've been a 65-year-old man since you were born. Okay. Let's just say. And you're not getting younger with that like energy.
No.
But you're just getting older as you age.
Right.
But I feel like once you get 65 years old, you're still going to say 65. But I feel like with who you are and just how like, you carry yourself, I feel like once you hit like 70, you're still going to be 65. I don't feel like that's changing, bro. So
good. Cool.
Yeah, I don't see it, bro.
Yeah. I'll still have the same terrible sense of humor and everything.
Bro, that was so funny when I gave you that haircut and I blew dry it. And then you're like, bro, why are you making me look like a 90s school bully? Bro, I still laugh about like that concept to this day.
Because, so for context, he'd put the dryer through the hair and the hair was all sticking up at the front. It looked like the older brother from Home Alone. Like it was that vibe.
Nah, it's because I was trying to give you a little bit of volume.
No,
I blew dry it the other way, so it kind of just hits up. So it bounces up, and then once you put product in it, it sits back down.
Yeah,
so.
Correct. And I said it, and I'm like, oh, that's probably really offensive. And then you were just laughing, so I was like, okay. Cool.
No, it wasn't offensive at all, bro. Roast me. That's my love language, man, when I get roasted, to be honest.
No, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's such a good space, and I love going there. The reason I walk in is because it is so welcoming, and it feels good to go there. So,
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, so when you landed in Australia, you wanted to cut hair already. What was the process? Where did you find your place? Because you were saying no one was giving you a go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me just go back to the concept of when I sobered up. So when I started using drugs and feeling that guilt and doing, that
were you still
toxic
in
cycle. No, I left Japan when I was 6 years old. I was living in Canada at this point.
Canada.
So it was Canada when I was getting into it. And I just kept going down that cycle. But then the more I'd use, the harder the drug use had to be because I was just finding a little bit of a, what's the word? I was finding a little bit of tolerance to what I was using. So it wasn't just a casual party drug, but it got pretty intense, right? So I went downhill real quick. Like I'm just lucky to be alive, to be honest. Like I think about how much and what I was using to the degree and like to the timeline, like how such short time, like for people, don't make it past that, and I'm so grateful that it was right at the beginning of the fentanyl, crisis, because I feel like what I was using with who I was getting it from, like it would have easily been laced and I wouldn't be here right now. So, so I ended up just, hitting ground, rock bottom and then digging myself like another few feet, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah.
And then, checking myself into a rehab center.
Yeah, wow.
And it was rehab where I kind of just started figuring out like this is what I need to be doing. Like I need to focus on who I want to be, what I'm trying to do, stop trying to compare myself and figure out like, issues that bring you, shame or guilt or, low self-esteem. And I worked through all these things. There was a lot of stuff, from my childhood and just who I was and how I carried myself and what I thought I had to do to be respected in society.
And was that facilitated through the rehab center, or was
Yeah, it was definitely
a self?
both. I mean, like
journey?
obviously like rehab, and they have like drug and alcohol counselors that really break it down.
Yeah.
But then they give you the tools, but then you have to do the work, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a hybrid.
It's both.
And yeah, I just kind of realized, I'm like, man, like I'm really just chasing what I thought I had to do, but it was never falling in line with who I am as a person.
Yeah.
So I kind of just was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to my family and friends and maybe cut hair, because I kind of just had that light bulb moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I told my family, you know, like on the phone, because you got like 20 minutes on the phone, or sorry, 1 hour every night, but it was a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes people would be on it for like 10, 15 minutes if there was no line, but I was in a public rehab, so it wasn't like, you know, like rich kids who had bad coke habits, you know what I mean? They would do yoga and like get massages, but like I was like doing it rough with some pretty serious like street folk. So public, government funded. So it was quite strict. It was like prison essentially without bars.
Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of like came to the conclusion that this is what I want to do. And I told my family, and as in like in rehab, we realized cutting hair is kind of like the passion and the drive that I want to go down. Yeah. The path I want to go down. My family was like, when I told them, you know, what do you guys think? My mom specifically said this. She goes, I don't care what you or your brothers do. So long as you guys do it in the spirit of service, you'll always be proud. Yeah. I was like, cool. All right. Dope. Took it as a blessing. Didn't really understand that. Yeah. But that's just touching on a Baha'i concept. Yeah, yeah. Do stuff in the spirit of service. Acts 100%. Of service, serving humankind, mankind, you know, your fellow man and woman is like essential. It's a prerequisite. Yeah. Because that way you're actually showing love and servitude to God. We can't serve God directly. We don't know what God is. But just serving his creation is important. So I was like, yeah, cool, wicked. Like she gave me my blessings. Yeah. So I came out, rehab, sobered up, stayed sober, was just kind of, you know, in a rut, like I'm not sure where to go, what to do, but I just knew I had bigger plans. And my brother was living in Melbourne Uni doing his master's he was living in Melbourne doing his master's at Melbourne Uni. Yeah.
What was he studying?
Bro, I don't know.
Yeah, so,
you know, it's funny. Like, no, it's crazy, bro. Like, I love him. Nima, I love you. I'm sorry. Like, I forget something with like international. Like, it's crazy, bro. I shouldn't have something along those lines, but I think so. I could be wrong. Yeah, he got his PhD, and I still forget what his thesis is. Yeah, wow. You know what I mean? Like, I love you, bro. No, but we've got that relationship. Like, we don't really focus on these things.
We can edit it out. It's okay.
No, a lot. Even keep it. He'll see it. He probably won't even see it though. See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's true. Yeah,
I won't even know what the thing is. He won't watch any of the stuff. Yeah, like, yeah. I've been doing podcasts for years, and I don't think he's actually fully watched a single one. Yeah, yeah. He's gonna see that, and he's like, no, I've watched, and I'm like, which one?
I've watched them all. What are you talking about?
Nah, he knows he hasn't. So, but it's all good. It's all love, right? So,
yeah, correct.
But yeah, so he was studying at Melbourne Uni, and he was like, Nas, man, I think it's a good idea if you can actually come move and live here and start fresh, bro. Like, you know, and he was like telling me, man, Melbourne's dope. Like, you'll love it. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And just a light bulb moment again.
It's pretty cool.
It just kind of flowed, and I was like, let's do it. Let's get it. Yeah. I came 2 weeks after that, I was on a plane. Yeah, right. With my visa approved. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was June like 30th, 2012. Yep. So, yeah, we're like a month and a half shy of 13 years, bro.
Yeah, wow.
Crazy.
There you go.
Yeah, so then I moved here, and then that's when I started picking up this desire. I'm like, I'm going to cut hair. I'm going to do this. I'm sober. I'm like motivated. I felt good for the first time. I was getting confidence. Like I felt good. I looked good. Like in the sense that like I wasn't just junked out.
Yeah, correct.
Not saying I'm good looking, but you know what I mean? Like it just felt good. Yeah. And then
started to feel like yourself again.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I completely forgot what it felt like.
And you felt aligned.
Yes. And then Summer gave me that opportunity. But the thing is, like, at Electric Brain Barbershop, like I mentioned earlier. And the thing is, man, like, I wanted to do more with cutting, because like I was just putting 2 hours. Like I would literally work at a cafe and then watch people cut hair after work just for free for hours. And I'd fall asleep at the barbershop just because I'd be so tired, because I'd start work at like 5 a.m. You know? Yeah. And like 7 p.m. when it's dark after doing like 14 hours like out of my house. I'd just be like, oh, I'm so tired. I got to wake up. And then I'd be like the barbers would be like, yo, I think it's time for you to go home. Like, come back tomorrow. I was like, okay, cool.
Yes.
But I'd be doing this for free. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No one was getting paid. I would just like want to watch and like sweep up and just work experience.
And were you living with your brother at the time?
No. I never actually lived with him. I got set up with a friend of his.
Yeah.
Had a spare room, and then I kind of found my own place. So he kind of was like giving me the introduction, but he's like, you know, it's very important to be independent. So I was like, cool. So I was ready for it, bro.
Yeah, great.
And so, yeah, basically I felt like I was putting so much of my time and effort into cutting hair that I completely neglected everything else in my life. And once I actually got an opportunity to finally start cutting hair at the shop, like, again, it was just like work experience. Like, no one was getting really like anything. I wasn't really getting anything. It was just practicing and seeing who I can just do as walk-ins just to get better. I was like, man, I want to start doing more with this. And I was like, should I go in and it was like, sorry, not should I. I was like thinking, what should I do? How can I use cutting into serving? And what can I, think about that's going to get me to that space? And I found that like every time I cut hair, like people were coming back and wanting to hang out and get a haircut with me, but I wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't understand it. But it kind of just dawned on me is because I would always focus, whoever would come in my chair, I can make them like the most important person in my life. Right. And I just really, really zoned in on that.
Yeah.
That idea, that concept. Like, I'll cut your hair. I'll do my best. But more than anything, I want to make sure that you feel so much better leaving my space. So it was more so about that connection. And it kind of just clicked after like a certain client or two where it just made sense to me. I was like, oh, shoot, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why people like getting their haircuts with me.
Yes.
And
as a recipient, I can agree. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Well, I'd like to think that I'm a little bit better than I was back then. So maybe it's part.
The quality is no issue. It's but the connection is what kept me coming back. It was, I'll tell the story. It was way back when you were out of shipping container was when we were doing when I first met you, and sat down, and you're doing your thing, and it was a great cut. Mum was there, and she was it was very happy with the product, and it was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and I don't know where I know this guy from, and I'm like, so what do you do? Like, what have you done? And you're like, oh, I've been around, I just sort of hang out, and you were just super chill about it. And then I Googled you afterwards, and I'm like, oh, you're like well known. Yeah. And you were like there was a Instagram following and everything else. And I was like, oh, I've seen you on TV. That's where I knew you. And you just did not even that didn't even enter into the equation. It was like a very humble, I've just been around. And I was like, I like this guy's energy. I'm there. And
cool.
Yeah. It was way back when. Yeah.
That's funny. That's happened a couple of times. I remember like one time this guy was he's like looking at my fingers and like seeing my tattoos, like, oh man, I've seen this barber on TV or like on this documentary. It was crazy. And he's got such a similar tattoo to that, like the one's too much, a thousand's not enough one. And he talks about it. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. What was the documentary about? And he's basically talking about, and I was like, that's really cool. I'm like, I got to check it out. And he's like, yeah, it was really, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just like, it's happened a couple times.
Whereas I 100% would. I'd be like, yes, that is me. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just, to me, it's fun. It's more fun just playing it off.
But if I didn't follow it up, I would have never known.
I probably would have.
And then I would come back next time, and then you would have never told me. Like,
probably
it would have just been, that's it.
Nah. Actually, it's funny. Like this guru that I've gone to Indonesia with, I've been cutting one of the guys' hair for like a year.
Yeah.
And he's asked me to come out and maybe just give time and volunteer with the kids.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, of course I'll do that. And he's like, oh, great, man. Thanks so much for this opportunity. Like, I can't believe that you're willing to do it. And I didn't tell him anything about what I do. And then at the airport, the crew, they were like trying to figure out Instagrams and stuff, like, so what's your Instagram? And then I'm like, and I kind of just gave it to him, like, not reluctantly, but I was just like, oh, this is the streets barber, man. And then he's like, oh, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
What this is? And I was like, it's not like it was crazy. It's like, I can't believe that I didn't know that you do this.
Yeah.
Because we're asking you to do this, not knowing that this is something that you do.
Correct.
And I was like, he's like, why didn't you ever tell me? I was like, it never came up.
Yeah. It just didn't enter into the conversation.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to cut your hair and be like, so I like to give back.
Yes, I'm famous.
No,
yes.
No, forget fame, bro. Like, it's funny because like people are looking
you don't like that word.
No, as in like, what is fame? You know, like Instagram, like, I mean, shoot, anyone can be famous now. Like, damn, you can just be famous if you just do a dance and on a sidewalk now in front of people in New York City.
Or, repost podcast clips.
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm saying it's just funny how that works. Hey, so I'm not sure if it's fame or people are just kind of like, oh yeah, like I like that content. But are
Well,
you
I
that
think-
content?
I think it's your mission translated through the content.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. The Japanese have an awesome saying. There's 3 masks that we wear. The first mask is the face that everyone sees. Second mask is the face that family and friends see. Third mask is the mask that only we alone get to see. So I'm trying to think. I'm like, I wonder which mask is the most authentic mask. I would like to think the third mask is, but I'm like, the third mask is not what Instagram shows.
No.
So the Instagram is like definitely the first mask. So I'm like, so that's why I'm like, am I famous, or is that what that page has kind of been able to, do for certain people? Is that just what's known? Like, people don't know me; they just know the page. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's something I've been like struggling with for the last few years. It's about that whole concept, because then I think about it. I'm like, bro, am I doing this because of genuine desire, or am I doing this for a like? So there was a period where I've actually completely stopped like posting and doing stuff. I would go out on the streets and not even do a post or a video or a picture, and just really just be like, I got to zone in. I got to do this because I want to. I want to do this because I care. And yeah, man, it's just been like that. The last few years, the page is, not what it was.
Yeah. And we've sort of skipped over what you actually do.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't actually cover that bit. So,
Rewind.
Yeah. Jump back a bit and explain that.
So I found out that I had this connection, or I have the ability to connect with people in my chair.
Yep.
Because I don't have to do anything. They come to me, right? And
Yeah.
this is the crazy part, right? And you can use this as like a snippet.
We'll snip it.
But the cool thing is, as barbers and hairdressers, is that we have such an opportunity and a bounty to connect with people who sit in our chair, because they come to us to look better and to look, and feel better. And when they come and sit in our chair, they're automatically putting down their walls, because they're putting their full trust into what we're going to do for them, because we have the opportunity to make them look better or worse. So when someone trusts you enough to actually put their image in your hands, that's automatically like an introduction and a connection and an ability to, I don't know, like knock off any resistance that someone may have towards meeting you on the streets or meeting you on a bus or just talking to you over the phone, right? So already we've got that layer of connection. And that's why I think people are like, oh yeah, my barber and my hairdresser, they're like my counselor.
Therapist. Yeah.
Therapist, whatever you want to call it. Actually, somebody called me their hairapist.
Therapist. That's too much responsibility. No.
No, it's just funny. Just the concept. But I'm saying like, the reason that is because they come into your chair and they're already feeling that state of vulnerability.
Correct.
So
may as well open up.
Yeah, or it's easier to open up.
Safe. Yeah.
You feel me? So, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I like it. But yeah, as a result, I just realized that I'm like, this is dope. And so I was passing this homeless guy almost, 4 or 5 days a week outside of Parliament Station when I was living in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I would always give him a coffee and a muffin, right? I'd buy one at the station, bring it up the stairs, hoping to see him, because I usually would, and I'd drop it off. If he wasn't there, I would just have a coffee and a muffin myself.
Yeah.
He would never really focus and look at me every time I give it. He just kind of like nodded. He's like, thanks. Super depressed.
Yeah.
Super, super in his head, like obviously struggling a lot with life.
Yeah.
Considering,
Yeah.
He's sitting on the side of the street and no one really pays him attention.
Yeah.
He just sits there.
Literally the downtrodden. Like he's...
Facts. Yeah. And then one day I just kind of pulled up after realizing these things on the train. I was like, I don't want to just give him a coffee and a muffin, bro. Like nothing's changing. So I'm like, do you want to cut? And he just kind of looked at me with these eyes of like,
what?
Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want a haircut? And he goes,
who's this guy?
And because he never really acknowledged me before.
Yeah.
But this time he actually he pierced my soul, bro. What are you doing? Like, why me?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I just got cut hair, and I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I don't. This is before Instagram and TikTok and Facebook had content creators doing stuff like this. So it was very weird.
Yeah,
it was very weird.
Correct.
I'm not saying I'm the first person to do it, because there's been people for centuries who've been going out and giving help to people and cutting hair. Like you would see people in like the slums, or like in villages, or in cities in New York 1970s. Probably would have been doing it, right? Just you never got telegraphed, or it's not telegraphed, photographed, or shown or captured in a way that people can see it, right?
100%.
So for me, it was quite raw and authentic. Like I didn't know what was going on. I just I want to do that. And so he's like, cool. And we just did it, and people started like bawling their eyes out as they're passing. They're like, what the hell's going on?
He didn't follow you to the shop. You did it there.
Yeah, on a rock.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Outside of the station.
Yeah.
And I just busted it out. Cut his hair, shaved his face.
Yeah.
Gave him some deodorant, aftershave. Changed his look, bro. He looked so different.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, people were walking by and they're in tears. Like, what the hell's going on? Trying to give me money. I'm like, no, what the hell's going on? But the crazy part is seeing him go from like just lifeless to like full of life. Yeah. It's just the best thing I've ever realized. And that's the connection part that I really, really, want to push with what I'm doing and the work that I'm doing. It's connection is such an important way to give life to something. Even if you look at it in like a non-human way, like I connect my phone. Yeah. When it's dead, it comes back to life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
A tree without its roots grounded and connected to the earth, it's not going to grow.
No.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
So connection is life-giving. You get me?
Yeah.
So,
transfer of energy.
I guess so, and the people walk by this guy by the thousands in the Melbourne CBD.
And no one paid him any mind.
No. And so, I mean, like, how can you, and like, I remember hearing this stat of a lot of people that talk to themselves on the street may not be suffering from mental illness, but it's because they also feel like they don't actually exist. So they talk to themselves because no one else will. Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, whoa, bro, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ugh.
So when I pass someone, I don't have my tools on me. I still be like, what's up?
Yeah.
Just a simple, what's up?
Yeah.
How you doing? You good? Good. My name's Nas. I hope you have a good day. I'm not trying to be cheesy, but like the reaction I had from someone once when I gave someone that exact response, I mean, that comment was like soul shaking. They're like, huh? And I'm like, just want to say have a good day, bro. And he's like, cool. Then as I'm walking away, he goes, yo. And I look back. He's like, have a good day too, my brother. And I was like, damn, no, you good. Bro. Put my thumbs up and walked away.
Up. Yeah.
But it was crazy, man. So like, yeah, power of connection.
Just that tiny little moment probably changed their whole day.
It changed his mind too.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And so, and reaffirms the power of connection, right? The life-giving value of connection.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, I just started to do that. And then eventually I'm like, these are some cool stories. I want to start sharing the stories of people. Yeah. And then I started to share the stories. And then that's when it kind of gained some traction and some love from people, in media and news networks and documentary spaces.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, just like literally overnight, bro. One day, like there was a documentary that got made and it just went like, it was like insane. Like I was like, what the hell is going on?
Well, because it was the, the effect that you had on the people that were just walking past amplified. So more people saw it and more people probably felt that, that it was a affirmation of the power of connection and trying to put some good back into the world. And I think people love that. People do resonate with that quite clearly.
Yeah, I think so, but also I think I resonate with it too. Like it helps me a lot.
Yeah.
People think that, and like, it's really important that I say this, but people think that I'm like a saint, you know what I mean? And like, I'm giving so much. And I'm not saying that like, that they're wrong, but I'm also not saying that I do that. Like I'm just saying, the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't want people to think I'm not accepting and acknowledging what they're saying. Yeah. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I feel like there's a lot that I also receive.
You get a lot of value out of it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so much, bro.
Yeah.
Because, I think about it, especially with Indonesia, for example. People are like, man, you must be so happy, like it must be so rewarding. And I'm like, man, there's a part of me that just thinks to myself, I'm like, bro, like I'm here. It's been like a month and I'm here doing a podcast with you and I got to go home and sleep in my bed and eat food. Yeah. Good, warm, delicious food. But those people that I have helped are still living in those conditions and their hair's growing back. So I wonder at what point am I really making a huge impact, and like how much more I could be doing. But then I get into this rut where I'm like, bro, just stop thinking like that. Like, there's only so much you can do.
Correct.
And, you know, even if you touch someone's life once, it's all good. But even if you don't, if it's touching your life and it's making you a better person, then keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat almost selfish, I think, you know, the work that I do, because it's not always for people. It's also like benefiting me as well.
You get value out of it.
Yeah. So it's definitely a mutual thing, you know. So I'm definitely, and this is a huge disclaimer, I'm no one special. I'm on the same value as the people that I help. If anything, sometimes I feel like they actually give me more than I give them, you know. So yeah, and that's something I've been really like trying to understand and work through, and just making sure that every time I cut someone on the streets, or, you know, someone that may be doing a rough, I thank them. Like, I thank them profusely and say, man, you've really, you know, helped change my perspective on this topic, or you've opened my eyes to this topic, or, you know, you've really benefited me and given me the opportunity to learn so much and to feel so much better about just whatever situation we may have talked about or topic we may have, you know, discussed. And I say, you know, I don't think anyone else could have done it. So
what's the best lesson that you've learned from somebody in that situation?
That's like the picking your favorite child, my guy.
Yeah, right.
I'll tell you one of my favorite I missed. It's just, I've got a couple. First, that everyone's got a story.
Yeah.
And people are, I don't think the people do as much anymore, but especially with the homeless, it's like, man, they're just lazy, bro. Like, get a job, get up and do shit. And it's like, bro, like, some of the stories that I've heard of people on the streets is really, really sad.
There's a lot of, like, the one that's just come back to my mind was for, I think it was Cam, who had a really tough time with his partner, and there was like a relationship that went apart and all that stuff. And it just, I can't remember the full thing, obviously, but that one just jumped out at me. And so
right.
It's that everyone's got a story.
Yeah, everyone's got a story, man. There you go. Exactly. And it's like, man, some people have the resilience, some people don't, you know, sometimes there's like kids that are 11 that like were smoking a cigarette and their friend put like heroin in it, and then they became addicted to heroin at 11 years old. Or like a kid who was profusely raped. Sorry, I don't like, well, maybe not profusely. What's the word? Just continuously raped.
Yeah.
At like 14 years old by his uncle.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that helps mask that memory is, you know, a certain drug. And I just think to myself, I'm like, bro, it's just so quick to be like, yo, you know, like, just get over it or get a job. Like, look at me. You know what I mean? It's just so easy to say that others can do it because
to be dismissive of
you can do it. You know?
Correct.
And some people, like I said, you know, may not have that resilience that you may have. Like, what may be hard for you may not be hard for someone else.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
And I got lucky to sober up, man. I had the love of my family who was still there. Surely I had to, like, you know, put boundaries up, and I had to go through a lot of loneliness and sad times. But as soon as I cleaned up, they embraced me and they welcomed me and they showered me with so much love and encouragement and support. Yeah. Some people don't have that.
No.
They don't have the support system. So they may sober up and then just fall right back.
Yeah.
It's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's not easy. So that's one thing that I've learned. Like, no one, like, okay, remember like that like school exercise you would have had, like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard someone say, I want to be homeless?
No.
You know what I mean? So it's not like someone's dream to be homeless. You know, you ever want to be addicted to drugs and just ruin your life and relationships around you?
Can't say that was on the survey.
You know what I mean?
No.
So no one wants to that. Like,
no,
yeah, you know. So it's obviously one
something
thing that
happened that's, you know, sent them off the rails and put them on that course.
Trauma's a fucking horrible thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned is that everyone's got a story, and it's just so much easier to judge, you know, without actually doing the work to figure it out. So it's kind of allowed me to be more patient with my approach.
Yeah.
What else have I learned? I've learned the value of, I think, connection, like we've talked about. It's life-giving. Those are two things. And man, the list can go on. We can talk about another podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
I can.
Well, you're more than welcome to come back.
I'll do it. We can do a recap, 6-month recap, see where we're at.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like it's limitless, you know. If you can hold a space of like non-judgment and allow people, and it's cool because I cut the hair. I'm not just like, you know, at a soup kitchen giving food.
Yeah.
I'm cutting the hair. So that same concept of vulnerability, you're trusting someone with your image, you know, is in effect when you're cutting someone on the streets or in the shop.
Well, correct. And it's not, you know, a 2-minute interaction is.
Exactly.
You're there for 3/4
Very
of an hour.
personal, very vulnerable, very intimate. So
Sometimes longer. Yeah.
yeah. So hearing the connection and the openness in their stories is so much more in depth too when you know it's coming from someone that you're cutting. You know what I mean? So I guess that's another reason why I really appreciate having that opportunity to do what I do. But another thing, though, I would say another thing that I've really learned, I've kind of said this, is like just realizing that it's not always me. It's me and them who are actually benefiting from that
100%.
from that experience. You know,
100%.
so it's as in it's not always me who's giving. Like the people that I'm cutting is equally giving me what I may be giving them. I'm giving them a change in their look and trying to show them companionship, you know, connection, love, care as much as I can. But the fact that they're allowing me in their space and they're talking to me is the exact same,
100%.
reciprocated. So realizing that, and man, like I got to keep doing it. Like I got to keep doing it. Like I haven't been able to do it for the last like year as much as I wanted to. Like I would do it, but it would be sporadic. But when I went to Indonesia and I went to and it's not the slums, they call it the kampong, which is like the neighborhoods. But that's just what the organization really wanted to make sure they would call those areas. Just because it doesn't dehumanize where they're living.
Correct.
But I gave a haircut to a gentleman who was injured and he couldn't walk. So he was pretty much paralyzed, but he could barely kind of move.
Yeah.
Nowadays, after like 7 years, after a tree fell on him. And they got this on video, but he was behind me, one of the guys. He was just filming.
Yeah.
And I was just, bro, I was like sobbing to the point where like snot in my mouth were all like one thing. And I was just like, bro, like, not because I was sad from the story, but because I was just so grateful that I had that opportunity, bro, like to cut and connect with people that wouldn't have had that opportunity. Like he's just in the back corner of the bush and like the ghetto.
Yeah.
All by himself. Like his wife goes out and does stuff, and his son will go out and do stuff and come back, and he just sits there. And sometimes he'll shave his head just by himself when it gets overruly, and just sits there and waits all day. And for having someone like myself come and like connect with this guy, like I felt so fortunate to have that connection with the dude. You know, I don't know why I'm getting emotional again, but it was just
it was a real moment for you.
Yeah, bro, it was very very real.
You've touched his life.
He touched mine, bro.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
That was a transaction.
Yeah.
Transaction is an ugly word, not transaction. The transfer of energy.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
I know what you meant. I didn't even focus on the word. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can move on to lighter topics.
Yeah, let's do it.
So your tattoos.
So I sobered up.
Yeah.
And then I started getting tattoos.
Yeah.
It was funny, man, because I used to think I was addicted to drugs, but I think I was just addicted to stuff.
Yeah.
So learning moderation has been really difficult for me to this day. I'm either all or nothing, right? Comes with sugar. It came with tattoos. It came with drugs. It came with other habits that weren't conducive to my growth.
Yeah.
So this is why I love to pray, you know, because what it does, it kind of sets me and grounds me for the day. And like I realize when I have my focus on this higher power, which allows me to live in that higher power of myself, it kind of regulates my emotions and what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
The issue is I don't pray as much as I want to. So I find that when I'm not connecting as much as I should be, well, I guess that's kind of like up to the individual, but I feel like it should be a daily thing, you know, like, and sometimes I'll just be so tired from work, sit on my couch, watch TV and fall asleep, right? So I don't get to end my day with that connection, and I'll wake up in a rush and I'll forget to connect. But I say this all the time, you know, like recently in the last year, but we may not realize the effect that not connecting or praying or meditating has on us when we're doing it. But we definitely start to feel it when we don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like breathing. At least for me, it is. Like, you don't focus on the fact that you're breathing, do you?
I am now.
Well, but
you know when someone points it out and you think about it, like blinking? Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you don't focus on breathing.
No.
But if someone was to put their hand over your mouth, you're like, oh, shoot, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same, man. Like breathing is prayer to me. You're kind of like, oh, man, I'm praying so much. Like, what's happening? Nothing. Yeah. But it's when you don't, you know, you don't have that connection. It just grounds you. It grounds you. It grounds you. And like, that's so important. Shoot, today I went for a walk with a guy in the morning talking about he's like a business coach.
Yeah.
told me to take my shoes off and walk on the grass. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? You know, like, this is hippie ass shit, bro. Like, I'm over it, you know? And I was like, dude, this guy's whack. But I just did it. I surrendered.
Yep.
And dude, I'm like, bro, like, it actually grounds you, bro. It's crazy.
Feels better. Yeah.
But it's just weird. Maybe it's placebo. I don't know. But he's just like, just do it. Let's see what happens. And we just walked like a kilometer barefoot on the beach. And I was like, damn. It kind of just leveled me a bit. And then obviously I finished that and I was just like super high strung and overwhelmed with so many different things that I forgot all that grounding.
Yeah.
But for that moment, I felt grounded.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shout out business coach.
Yeah. Nice.
Grounding. Yeah. So, yeah, tattoos. Going back to that. I got
when
I got
I
a
met
lot.
you had more.
I have on my face.
Yeah.
I lasered them off.
Yeah.
Just because it's not the image I wanted to, portray myself as. Especially like, I remember like when I got them was before like SoundCloud was really a thing. And then SoundCloud rappers were like, were born.
Yeah. And they've got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and just like some of that stuff is just so whack, bro. But I mean, I'm coming from a state of judgment, bro, and I shouldn't be doing it. But I think with that image, it comes with a connection to obviously like just junkie status. Like it was really, really popular in the SoundCloud era, the SoundCloud rapping scene, where like dudes are doing it, multicolored, like hair, face tattoos, gold teeth, and they just love Xannies and perks and all that stuff. And I was like, it just wasn't where I wanted to be.
No.
And so I just thought to myself, I'm like, I know people don't need to judge a book by its cover, but I can't expect people not to judge me because I say they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be better if I can try to still hold on to my creative, look with everywhere else, but just not touch something that is going to be the first point of contact. A. B. My mom would FaceTime me, and that was the first thing she saw, and she hated that. And I put my mom through hell.
Yeah.
So I just thought to myself, if I can also make her happy every time I FaceTime her. And C, it's just, I guess, age. You grow up and you're like, that's not really me. You grow out of it.
Yeah.
So I still do have my brother's names tattooed.
Yep.
On my eyebrows.
Yeah.
I mean, on my eyelids.
Yeah.
And Nima and Nadim, I think.
Yeah.
It's because I'm the baby. I look up to them.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah, I got that. I got my mom's name.
Yeah.
My dad's name. And that's it. Yeah, on my face. So I still got my family's name, but you can't really see the one on the beard.
Yeah.
And my eyelids, unless I'm blinking my eyes like that. Like, So that's basically it, And I got one space left on my back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind people actually commenting on this idea. But my dad, in growing up, he was a Persian carpet salesman. He still kind of does it every now and then.
Yeah.
At like 75 years old because he loves it, bro.
Yeah.
So I grew up with like Persian carpets my whole life. I know it's such a stereotypical thing.
No, I know. That's
Persian
what I was
kid.
gonna say.
I know.
Are they magic carpets? No.
Nah, it's really, no, but hell yeah. Like the amount of people used to say that, I loved it. Like one of my dear friends, his father he calls me magic carpet.
Yeah.
And he's like, he makes the reference. He's an old Irish guy.
Yeah.
How I came into this world on a carpet. Like he just like zoomed in. I love it so much. I don't get offended by it. I think it's hilarious. No, like I said, getting roasted is my love language.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, it's an Irish guy that does it.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
They're masters of the roast.
They're the best. But I got this space on my back. It says Unity. That was one of my first tattoos on my back.
Yeah.
I got it with a sewing needle and ink from a pen in Vanuatu for 2 days. Nice. I lived there for a year in the bush. And it was really not well done, but whatever. It's still a story.
Yeah.
But underneath it, I've got the space mid to lower back. And I'm thinking of just getting like a big, fat, colorful Persian carpet.
Yeah. 100%.
On my back.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, that's my last piece. Just as like a paying homage to my dad.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's going to work well. It's going to be, I don't know, because there's so much detail, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm like, who cares? It could be cool because everything else is black and white, right? So I thought it'd be kind of hard if I can do a dope-ass color piece on my back. Yeah. So if anyone sees this and thinks it's a good idea, say yes. If you think it's a bad idea, say no.
100%. We'll clip this one, and everyone that comments, I'll send you the screenshots.
All right, cool. I'm down with that. No, because I wouldn't mind a survey.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, cool. We'll put it together. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So I lost my train of thought.
Tattoos?
Yeah, tattoos. We're on tattoos. And then I wanted to ask you, what's next? Is there something that you're working on at the moment? Are you thinking of changing direction?
Well, at the moment, I'm working on By the Streets, which is our product label.
Yep.
And we're trying to build that up because I want to be able to use that as a way of making income.
Yep.
So I can do some more volunteer work. Because right now, it's just kind of the shop is kind of helping me out, right? So shop's great. Love it. Love the space. But, if I could have, something as a secondary source of income to kind of help so I don't have to be at the shop as much and I can maybe just go off and do what I want to do because that's my dream, bro. Like, it's just to
volunteer.
Yeah, like I'm working hard to buy time.
Yeah.
Freedom of time.
Yeah.
Not so much to buy like all these fancy things. It's just freedom of time to have the time to do stuff. So that's kind of what we're working with. And it's been a crazy journey. So I've got an awesome brother and sister helping me. Nathan and Lauren Minicozy. I love them a lot.
Yeah.
Really, really sweet. Trust them with all my life. And Nathan actually came with me to Indonesia.
Yeah.
And we really, really connected. Just a good soul. So grateful to have him part of the squad. And we're hoping to achieve a lot of great things because we want to also give a percentage of every profit towards putting street kids through school in third world countries and war-torn countries.
Wow.
So we're doing, but we're not going to call it an not-for-profit because it's really messy when people start saying that. And I don't want to play into buy because we're doing stuff for people. It's kind of like, this is what it is. It's a daily reminder of various virtues that you can incorporate in your life every time you use this product.
Yeah.
Each product has a different virtue: love, peace, unity, joy, and hope.
Yeah.
And every time you use each of those products, hopefully you can incorporate that specific virtue in your day-to-day actions. And we're hoping that obviously once it goes and gets bigger, when it gets bigger, we can just start, putting money aside and giving back as much as we can.
Yep.
On top of me having the money to actually have the time to give back as much as I can. So it's like a double whammy thing.
Yeah.
And also with my video crew from round 3, Bryce and Vidad, we're looking for actual, charities and organizations that are doing awesome things, outside of like the major, big, blue chip charities, let's just say. And I'm trying to actually showcase and learn about them as well and see what their story is, their struggles, and understand the power of service. And, we're actually out searching it up and hopefully documenting it and maybe doing a little web series or pitching it to a network and putting a show together. So
sweet.
Yeah, if anyone watches that and
it's exciting,
they know of anything along those lines, reach out. Shout out round 3, man. They've been with me since day dot. Like, I love them a lot. Yeah. They've really been so generous with their time. So not once have I had to do anything financial with them. So it's always been just from goodwill. They've just given back and love capturing the stories. So it shows that they're pure with their intent, So I love them a lot. So those are my 2 things that we're going to see. So we can recap in like a year, see where we're at.
Yeah. 100%.
I might be too rich though from other products.
You won't have time
to pay for me. No, I'm playing. Never will I ever be like that.
So, I had a question there and it's just disappeared. So since coming to Australia, obviously you've had the chance to experience a lot of what Australia has to offer. I mean, I went to your first AFL game. Remember that?
Car and the Catters.
Yeah, Car and the Catters. I was going to ask, who do you go for the Cats?
Well, no, actually, I go for, as much as this is blasphemous, maybe in Geelong, but I'm a GWS guy.
Yeah.
Only because of my boy, Toby Green.
Yeah.
Love that guy, bro. He's become like a brother to me. Georgia, his fiance is one of my best friends. I got a G tattooed on me, actually.
Yeah, right. Yeah. In the style of the GWS?
No, in
just AG.
For Georgia.
Ah, right.
That's my girl.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
One of my best friends.
That's sick.
She's a little bit funny though, so I always say she's backwards, just because she's not from this, planet.
Yeah.
So I got the G backwards on my body.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So it's a little bit symbolic. So no, that's my like.
That's sick.
I would say blood wouldn't make me closer to Georgia. Yeah. And obviously now Toby, So it was funny because I think I was.
Who'd you know first?
Georgia. For years. Yeah. That's how I got to meet Toby.
Yeah.
And I was just actually messaged him the other day. I was like, Toby's not a what's it called anymore. He's not just a friend of partner of my friend.
Yeah.
He's actually become more than just that now. He's like a brother to me now. He's like, just just a sweet, humble, laid back people.
Yeah.
They've just been so loyal. So one time I was like, I really like Geelong. I support the Cats because a lot of the boys come and get their haircuts.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And my brother was hearing it in Georgia, and Georgia goes like, I don't care what you say, man. Geelong, those boys, they're your friends.
Yeah.
But us, we're your family. And I was like, fair play.
Fair enough.
So
Okay.
I'm 51% GWS, 49% Geelong now. Yeah, I got to be.
Yeah.
It's so not Australian of me to have two teams.
Yeah. But that's okay. I'm
not Australian.
Is what it, yeah. Is what it is.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do think that, he's got a reputation for being not a dirty player, but
he's competitive.
He's competitive.
He's competitive, and bro, if I ever had a team, he'd be the number one pick for me. I don't know much about footy, but whenever I watch him play, I can understand why he's so competitive because he's so damn freaking good. As simple as that. You wouldn't want him to be any less because of what he brings. And being dirty or not, he's the nicest guy off the field. So, he just puts it all out on the field.
Yeah.
Gives it his all. So if being, dedicated and competitive,
well, I guess a lot of
considered dirty, then I'm cool with that.
Not necessarily.
I'll be cool with that.
The
keep going, Toby.
Yeah.
Keep going, baby.
No, I think probably is a lot of just frustration that he is good. And
I think that's all it is,
good.
bro.
Yeah, and it sucks.
That's all it is.
Just because they're a newer team, they don't have the same size of the supporter base to back them up. So it's probably good that you're a GWS supporter.
Nah, man,
need to boost their numbers.
No, they don't even need that, bro. They got it. They got that tsunami going.
This year's the year.
They're gonna win this year, bro.
Yeah.
Well, mark my words.
See it.
You know what we're gonna do? What day is it today? April what?
April 17th.
April 17th, 2025. I'm calling it right now. GWS is winning the grand final, straight up. I'm telling you right now. And I'm going to get the tattoo with Toby and the squad. I don't care what anyone says.
Nice.
We're winning it. We're taking it all the way this year, baby.
Yeah, cool.
Mark my words.
I love that. Yeah, sweet.
I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I actually can't wait.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's funny that we talk. And it's so funny, I'm into footy now. I never really cared about it.
Yeah.
It only actually is very narcissistic for me because I started watching footy only because I wanted to see what my haircuts look like on TV. Then I was like, actually, this is kind of a cool sport.
Yeah.
Because after we went to our game, I didn't care about footy for so long.
Yeah, right.
Because
I remember explaining the rules and stuff to you and everything. And
now I'm understanding it more.
Yeah. Now it was just sort of like, yeah.
But now my brother, actually, funny enough, he finished his PhD and was doing huge things with basketball.
Yeah, right.
In Victoria and Australia and international in Africa and stuff. And now he's been actually hired by the AFL.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right.
Not a club, the whole organization.
Yeah,
cool. So he's developing and creating policies and programs to, include Black and brown kids into the sport and encouraging ways for them to actually find that ability to grow within, the league. So he's doing some awesome stuff, man. I'm proud. You know what, Nemo? I'm really proud of you, bro. I love you a lot. I never give him that love.
Yeah.
I'm just a little brother who just bags him out all the time.
There it is. It's on this podcast.
Getting roasted is my love language.
Yeah.
And so I do that to other people because that's my way I think I can give people love. Yeah. But I got to give Nemo his flowers.
Yeah.
And Natty, my other brother, too.
You can't just keep roasting him.
Nah, I can't, but I'm still gonna.
Yeah.
But I have to sometimes just say it in public so everyone can hear. I love you, Nemo. Nice. I'm proud of you.
Nice. Yeah, good. No, that's brilliant. You've also looked after my brother, so I'm going to give my brother a quick shout out too. Tom, he's here. This may be the only podcast that he actually watches.
Where is he right now?
He's in Queensland. He's in Queensland. Cool. So yeah, he's doing his electrical apprenticeship up there with
that's crazy
his family. So
it's not a baby anymore. Hey?
He's always checking in, and every time I get a haircut, he's like, "Oh yeah, how's Nas? How are the boys?" He's checking in, he still cares.
Send him my love, Tom. Tom, much love, bro. I hope you're doing well.
He might actually watch this one.
Fingers crossed. If not, just fast forward this.
Yeah, correct. I'll just clip this bit and send it to him direct. So the way I like to finish the podcast is we do a quick fire round of questions, and we'll just jump straight in. Favorite sport?
Basketball.
It is basketball.
100%.
Is it AFL second?
It used to be NFL, but I guess now it's AFL because I'm in Australia and I care and watch it more. So yeah, hell yeah.
Good stuff.
I can't believe I said that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I love AFL now.
And now that's recorded. It's there forever.
Yeah, cool. There we go.
Favorite genre of music?
Nowadays, psychedelic rock. But I guess if it's going to be my wife and it's one thing I'm never going to look away from, my first wife is always reggae.
Yeah.
reggae music, and like to this day, you can always bring me back to reggae, and I'll love it, and I'll turn it up. So,
and who are your favorite artists in that genre?
Man, I mean, you gotta love Bob, bro. Like,
yeah, of course.
just for what he is and what he's done for the genre and what he's done for like the culture. And I love his sons.
Yeah,
like Damian Marley. Like I almost cried when I saw him. Actually, I think I might have cried when I saw him live.
Yeah,
dreads were on the floor, bro.
Yeah,
like, it was 2010 Winter Olympics. He did a performance.
Yeah, wow.
And I love like the old school artists. Like Barrington Levy. He's just an OG for me. I love the crew. Black Uhuru, Michael Rose is one of the lead singers in that group. And just, I can just name so many different people in that crew. It's more so roots reggae that I like, not so much like modern new age dancehall reggae. But it's just like the old school, what you listen to, like, in the countryside of Jamaica.
Yeah, nice.
What you can envision if you
ever been there?
That. Not yet, but it's funny, man. That's like been like, I don't know. It's just, that feels like it's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid. I did this book in grade 1.
To go. You might not come back.
Well, no, I'm telling you, like I told my partner, like I want my honeymoon to be there. It's kind of selfish on my part, but like I need to go there.
Yeah.
I almost moved there actually.
Yeah,
wow. I moved to Jamaica or Trinidad and Tobago, somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah, wow.
It was like 3 years into this to this country, and I became a barber. I was like, I was going to open up a shop there.
Yeah,
started my application for my visa, was ready to go. And then the Streets Barber thing popped off, and then opportunity just flowed, and life just kept me here. So, yeah.
Something you're going to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been to the Caribbean heaps of times. Like my cousin lives there, my auntie lives there. They're coming to visit me in September, so I'm kind of grateful for that. But like the Caribbean's one thing, but like Jamaica specifically, there's something about it.
Yeah.
So I'll be going there one day.
Awesome.
Actually, is the reason I don't eat meat. Actually, there was this Rastafarian who kind of encouraged me once about diet and health and vitality.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, boy, how do you expect to be full of life when all you do is feast on death? And I thought about that. I was like, damn, because eating animal products when they're dead. Yeah. How do you expect to be full of life when you can just, be electrified with your foods? And I was like, Rastafari, you know what I mean? No.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
So you're a vegan?
I mean, I'm a fake poser, bro. I still have eggs every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll sometimes have fish, but for the most part, I just predominantly, I don't even know if vegan's the word. I just don't eat meat and have dairy. Yeah. But there you go. Do you consider, someone was telling me eggs is dairy. I'm like, I don't think it's dairy, bro. But anyways, that's another topic for another day.
Surely.
Yeah, there we go. Man. There we go.
Dairy?
My boy Bayan.
Easter eggs are dairy.
Yeah, facts. My boy Bayan from Sydney, he's always telling me, he's like, man, you're not even a vegan, bro. And he's telling me how I eat dairy because I eat eggs. Now you watched. He's got a dope clothing label called The Boss, by the way. Yeah. And gets so inspired.
He's a cool dude.
He's the coolest.
I had like a couple of conversations with him once.
Back in the day. You remember that? Yeah. The Le Boss is blown up, bro.
Yeah, sick.
He's doing so well for himself. I'm so proud. I'm so inspired. I love that guy. And speaking of being roasted, like that guy's the king of roasting me. He's so good. So that's why I love him so much. Yeah. I love language. Yeah. I want to have a banana for you, bro. That's an inside joke. Yeah, I've gathered. No, awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Cool, man. Where can people connect with you best? Online, obviously, at the Streets Barber. Yep. Or if you're in Geelong, you want a haircut, you want to have a chat, swing past. Just book into the Streets Barber shop. Yeah. Super easy. You can walk in to book in, right? You can walk in, but we've actually got a new booking app called Fresha. It's super easy, convenient. So you can also just jump on www.streetsbarbershop.com. Even a 65-year-old man can use it. Yeah. That's really funny. No, thank you, man. I really appreciate you doing this. I know you're a busy guy, so thanks for working around and, giving us access to your time. I really appreciate you. No, and appreciate you. Thanks so much for being here and sharing your story with us. Bless. Awesome. Proud of you, bro. Thanks very much, everyone. Appreciate your time.